Traumatic experiences are encountered by people every day, unfortunately. Whether something is considered traumatic is largely determined by the individual, and it isn't someone else's responsibility to decide whether something was traumatic for someone else. Only the person who underwent the trauma can determine the impact on their life. Two people may even go through the exact same event, and one considers it traumatic while the other person doesn't. Experiencing trauma is a very individualized event. Even if you don't know whether a certain situation was traumatic to someone because they won't talk about it, you might have a friend or family member who you are concerned about and want to know what signs to look for after they went through a potentially traumatic event. Today I will discuss some common reactions to trauma by explaining how people respond to trauma. But first, I'm Dr. Emily Mayfield, a licensed psychologist. Thank you for watching this video and being a part of the Mindset Therapy family. If you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate you hitting the like button and consider subscribing. Trauma can be defined as an emotional response to an event or events that is distressing and troubling. The trauma experience can have a lasting impact on the individual's emotional, social, and physical functioning. In other words, experiencing trauma can have an impact on all areas of your life. Trauma can encompass a variety of events and can include loss of a loved one, abuse, natural disasters, violence, neglect, and continuous exposure to aversive details of a traumatic event. This last item includes medical workers, firefighters, police, mental health providers, and other individuals who experience frequent loss, are responsible for dealing with the impacts of death, and/or have repeated exposures to stories of abuse. How each person responds to a potentially traumatic event varies. When exposed to traumatic events, there are common reactions people might experience. Knowing what these common reactions are can help you better assist your friends and family. I'm going to discuss some of the most common responses to traumatic events that someone might display. The first response someone might have after a traumatic event is re-experiencing the trauma. This is when trauma survivors may re-experience the trauma feelings and thoughts. Possible ways trauma is re-experienced include nightmares, flashbacks, which are memories and images of the trauma that arise unexpectedly, emotional distress when exposed to thoughts, memories, or physical reminders, and physical distress when exposed to reminders of the traumatic event. The second response someone might have after a trauma is avoidance of reminders of the trauma. This can be through avoidance of thought, memories, and emotions related to the trauma, or avoidance of external reminders of the trauma that lead to distressing memories, thoughts, and feelings. This might be avoiding water if there was a near drowning, or avoiding flying or airports after a plane mishap. A third common reaction someone might have after a traumatic event is experiencing negative thoughts or feelings. This might include them feeling disconnected from others, blaming oneself for things related to the traumatic event, loss of interest in activities, negative thoughts about oneself or the world, or difficulty experiencing positive emotions. And the last type or reaction someone might have after a traumatic event is hyperarousal. This includes being reactive to situations and always feeling like you are on edge. The hyperarousal can present as being irritable, quick to anger, and having low patience. Startling easily, having difficulty sleeping or difficulty concentrating. They may engage in more reckless behavior, or they may always be looking around for dangerous situations. While those topics listed are common reactions to trauma, they can develop into more serious mental health issues such as post-traumatic stress disorder or PTSD. However, it is important to note that not everyone who has been exposed to a traumatic event will develop PTSD. Concern for the development of PTSD would occur if the individual exposed to the traumatic event begins to experience significant distress or problems functioning in their daily lives for greater than 1 month. If you have a friend or family member who has experienced a traumatic event, here are some ways you can help them after exposure to a traumatic event. The first thing to do is remind yourself of the common reactions. If someone you know begins to act differently, they might be experiencing one of the reactions. If the person you are concerned about is in another part of the country, try to do video calls with them. This will allow you to see how they are doing and not rely solely on what they tell you. You can also let them know you are there to listen, but don't force conversation. If someone is not yet ready to talk, they will pull away if they feel pressure to talk about the traumatic event. Listen to them when they talk and remind them you are there when they are ready to discuss what happened. As you listen to the person, validate their feelings. This means accepting how they say they feel and don't disagree or challenge. Emotional responses are determined by the individual, and while you may have responded differently, that does not make the individual's response wrong. You will also want to encourage them to practice good self-care. This can include getting restful sleep, being physically active, or just doing a hobby or activity they enjoy. While you are helping your friend, it is also important to remember to help yourself as well. Listening to the traumatic event someone else has been through can be difficult. As a friend or family member of someone who has experienced trauma, you want to be the supportive person they can rely on, but this can become overwhelming to you. Check in with yourself frequently to see how you are doing and practice good self-care. You can be a better friend if you are taking care of yourself and not getting burnt out or overwhelmed. Comment below some ways you have helped someone after a traumatic event. See you at the next video.